Reason that when Donald Trump invited blacks who often vote Democratic to the White House, they came and they were receptive. Take Jim Brown.
What I felt today was you're a happy president that is willing to do what he thinks is right for this country, willing to take chances, willing to stand up, willing to fight back. I want to come back with my plans and help him do the things that should be done, not criticize him.
Now let's fast forward to 2019, shall we? Robert Johnson, founder of BET, is America's first black billionaire. He supported Hillary Clinton in 2016. Here's what he's saying now.
Well, I think the economy is doing absolutely great, and it's particularly reaching into populations that heretofore have had very bad problems in terms of jobs, unemployment, and the opportunities that come with full employment. So African American unemployment is at its lowest level, Hispanic unemployment, women. So I give President Trump, and I said this before on Squawk Box, I give President a lot of credit.
This brings us to how Donald Trump allegedly has coarsened race relations in America. Here's some typical headlines. AP, poll shows sour views of race relations in Trump's America. Market Watch, poll shows a majority of Americans think race relations under Trump are generally bad. Now, Gallup has been measuring how people feel about race relations since 2001. The peak year for whites, 2007, when 75% of whites thought race relations were either very good or somewhat good. For blacks, the peak was in 2001, when blacks thought, 70%, that race relations were somewhat good or very good. Let's see, 2001, 2007, who was president? George W. Bush. But then, as you can see, both white and black still thought race relations were generally pretty good in 2013. But by 2016, they had fallen dramatically for both blacks and for whites under President Barack Obama. Not Donald Trump, Barack Obama. So relations peaked during the Bush years, dropped dramatically during the Obama years. So, water is wet, sky is blue, grass is green, and race relations have gotten worse under President Trump. But have they? There is a working paper by two researchers who concluded just the opposite. They admit they were surprised by their findings. They've been tracking views of whites for some time, and they assumed that because of Donald Trump, whites would be far more willing to express negative views about blacks and far more willing to express negative views about Hispanics. The researchers found the opposite. Here's what they said. Our findings contradict both hypotheses, as we primarily found declining prejudice and racial resentment, and certainly no increases. Measuring prejudice is notoriously difficult, but we were able to draw on a panel survey which has posed questions about political issues to the same group of people 13 times since late 2007. Our panel asked the respondents, a representative sample of about 500 white Americans, to rate different racial groups' work ethic and trustworthiness repeatedly. On average, anti-black prejudice dropped sharply among whites from just before the 2016 election to 2 years later. That marked the lowest level of anti-black prejudice since we first conducted this study in late 2008. Prejudice against Hispanics also dropped. In both instances, declines were larger among Democrats, but they also appeared among Republicans too. I mean, honestly, nirvana is not realistic. This is a country of 330 million people. You're going to have some morons. Hell, about 8% of Americans believe Elvis is still alive, and some 6% believe if you send him a letter, he will get it. So nirvana is not an option. But we are getting along better than we ever have in the history of this country. The idea that Donald Trump has